life of people not only in Niger State but also.
Still a chance for Iron Robin. It's
let them shoot. No problem.
Nigeria about to exit second wave of COVID-19. Still on the headline
of nursing and midwifery to Edo State College Nursing Sciences as part with the
Hello, good morning and welcome to the Gallery TV newspaper headline review this morning. I'm El-Rufai here with me.
Emmanuel Ejiola is my name. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. You're welcome to the newspaper headline review. As I said before, this morning we have the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard, the Daily Trust, the Independent, and Guardian newspaper this morning. So firstly we'll be starting with the Punch newspaper this morning. And the major headline of
Alright, on today's major headline of the Punch newspaper, what we have is El-Rufai carpet military, ACF laments, DHQ fails to deploy Tucano in Northwest. And that takes us above the major headline of today's Punch newspaper. What we have on the front page there is Senate demands downward pay, TV tariff review, others hike probe. This news story is on page 23 of today's Punch newspaper. Still above the major headline, we have subsidiary summons. NNPC has nothing to hide, Kyari tells lawmakers. This news story is on page 26 of today's Punch newspaper. Still above the major headline, we have report of stepping down for Atiku mischievous Saraki Tamboa Mohammed. This news story is on page 16. And finally, on that, above the nameplate, we have NAFDAC gets World Health Organization certification, plans vaccines laboratory in June. This news story is on page 29. And that takes us to the side of the nameplate. What we have there is Senate threatens Akpabio, and then NDDC boss arrests over 2.2 billion naira contractors fees. This news story is on page 22 of today's Punch newspaper. And finally, we have PFN CDHR lawyers differ on prison's beauty pageant. All right, that takes us below, and that will be done by Lady Shidema. All right.
Okay, the front page picture, that's unmanned aerial vehicle acquired by the Nigerian police force to improve surveillance operation during demonstration in Abuja on Wednesday. And below we have also U.S. Embassy in Abuja begins interview waiver for visa renewal. That's on page 9 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Below we still have face masks now optional. COVID-19 restriction goes soon. That's coming from the federal government, and you can find that on page 8 on the Punch newspaper this morning. We still have NDLEA burst 5-member airport drugs syndicate, sees 19.8 million naira cash. That's on page 4. Headers Adaman Southern governors fails to enforce anti-open grazing. This morning when I was coming, and on the radio I heard you were talking about these headers, the government failing to enforce anti-open grazing law in northern side. The man was saying that he visited, and they granted interview to one of the bandits they caught. So he was saying that there they have two sets of the Fulanis, the ones that comes to take destroy the farms of the houses, and the ones that came to store the cows from them. So it was also lamented that the government should do something about it, that many people have been losing their lives, and the farmers also are losing their cash crops to this problem. So I think the governors at the southern side should enforce this anti-open grazing laws, that they should have a specific place for the headers to carry out whatever they are doing. Yeah.
Nigeria has been on this issue for so
long.
Years.
Yeah. That's on page 29 on the Punch. 20 Niger residents fleeing bandit attack on overloaded boats drown. That's on page 7. We still have a Kyari reject prison food. image excited by ex-IRT boss present. That's on page 9.
Right,
think
amazing
that's
news
all,
stories
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Punch newspaper, and that's why we always go with
With
this
the
news.
Punch, yeah.
And that takes us to the next
Nigeria.
newspaper with us today, and that is Nigerian Tribune. On the major headline on front page there, we have youth donate blood, terrorists contact families. These news stories you can see on pages 2 and 4 of today's Nigerian Tribune. And below that we have how bureaucracy caused train attack, says Amechi. Also, after questions collective ability to govern, says governors. We also have the reps blast service chiefs over failure to honor invitation. Also, our federal governments must prosecute indicted 1,200 terror sponsors suspected now, says Falano. Right, and that takes us above the major stories for today on Nigerian Tribune. What we have is federal government approved procurement of light detectors and night vision goggles for NDLEA. This is stories on page 8 of today's Nigerian Tribune. Still above the nameplate or the logo, we have 2023 presidency. Blackmail can stop not from fielding candidates, says Northern Coalition. This news story is on page 13. And finally, we have Afeba Balola's column, the judiciary must remain independent. This news story, we can read more on Nigerian Tribune. And that takes us down the front page. All right, Chidima, what do we have?
Below, we have on page 5, we have OAU students murder trial, court dismisses no case submission by Adedoyin others. Below, we still have Reps Committee uncovers 300 billion naira unclaimed funds in banks. That's on page 4 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. This morning you can get this paper to read more on it. Below, we still have river population. Ogun declares war on illegal. Illegal miners. That's on page 29 on Nigerian Tribune this morning. FIRS contributed 59.45% of revenue shared by FAAC monthly in 2021. That's on page 6. We have Olu of Wari visits Abiodun, predicts oil discovery in Ogun State. Wow, that would be nice
story.
Yeah, that's on page 29. Edo Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill. I think this Edo State, they have done well by doing that.
Yes.
Like they were telling the Northerners to do the same thing so that the farmers can farm in peace.
Yes.
And the front page picture, from left is the Olu of Wari, okay. Ogiame Atuase 3. Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun and the Alaki of Agbaland. Okay, Oba Adedo.
Don't read
Thank
it.
you.
This is
Thank you.
the paramount villas to
Yeah.
the governor at the presidential lodge in
Abeokuta
Abeokuta
on
on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Amazing. And that takes us to the next newspaper.
Newspaper
Vanguard, being part
Vanguard.
of today's national dailies. What we have on the
Super
front
local
page
this morning.
is Kaduna train attack questions our capacity to govern, says
Okay.
governance. And that takes us above that news story. What we have is bandits killed 23 in Kaduna villages. This news story is on page 3 of today's Vanguard newspaper. We also have the autumn furious over armed herders killing in Benue communities. This news story on page 6.
Attacked. There was a new attack on the community.
Go ahead,
yesterday.
this country. And finally, we also have how I plugged my victim's eye to make charm. That's terrible.
That's horrible.
As a suspect. And this news story is on page 3 of today's Vanguard newspaper. And that takes us below the front page. What do we have there, Chidima?
We have Saraki in Southeast. Says Nigeria needs president with stamina, not dependent.
It's
Who's he talking to? Well, he knows who he's talking. That's on page 9 on the
Yes.
Vanguard newspaper this morning. We have on page 4 30 days ago, I didn't know I would become APC national chair.
Says,
That's coming from
Adamu.
Yeah,
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, the new APC national chairman. We still have US beginning interview with a program for certain visa renewal. That's on page 6. Below we have over 120 million mobile subscribers reach disconnection as NIN SIM interrogation and integration areas and today.
Right.
Wow. That means they will be blocking the SIM card. Well, they have been raising that and they have warned since last year that you should go and link your NIN with your SIM
We just
card.
hope they will still extend it.
Well, even if they don't extend it, they have tried.
They've tried.
They have tried.
So,
Since
alright.
2019, if not until 20.
You know, some Nigerians don't take things.
Yeah, they don't
so
take it that
serious.
serious here until something goes wrong there.
Alright.
Why Nigeria should reduce annual population growth? That's coming from NPC chairman. That's on page 4. Adegoke murder, you have case to answer, court tells Adedo and 6 others. Okay, that will take us to the next newspaper.
Alright, that is the Guardian newspaper. We have an amazing photo story on today's page. Alright, on the front page of today's Guardian newspaper, we have PDP 13 presidential aspirants emerge as Udom Hayatuddin Ahwabunwa pick firms. This news story is on page 2 of today's Guardian newspaper. Still above the photo story, we have CAN that can PDP blame government APC for insecurity in Kaduna. This news story is on page 30 of today's. And below the photo story, we have experts blame government for failure to secure raise. Chidima, what do you have down the front page?
We have Kogi denies illegal taxation on telecosts. That's on page 30. On page 86, we have IBOP rejects naming second Niger bridge after President Buhari. That's a lot. TB killed 156,000 infected, 452,000 Nigerians in 2020. That's a lot.
That's tuberculosis. Alright, so the next newspaper with us today, we have Daily Independent. What we have on the front page is we owe victims. That's Kaduna Abuja train attack. Still on that, we owe victims relations apology. We have that being said by governors, and below that say frequent attacks question collective capacity to govern. Also below that, North is under siege. Arewa Consultative Forum lament. This news story is on page 29 of today's Daily Independent, and above the logo we have PDP alleges plot by presidency APC to alter electoral act. Also we have UK issues travel advisory, lists 7 states with high level threats. Right, that takes us down the front page to the side of the front page. What do we have?
We have who satisfied NAFDAC as maturity 3 regulatory agency. That's on page 29. Below we still have Reds uncover 300 billion naira unclaimed fund in banks, and you can find out on page 6 on Daily Independent newspaper this morning.
Alright, to the next newspaper with us today, and that is Daily Trust. Because time, that is where we'll wrap it up. Alright, so on the front page of today's Daily Trust, we have security forces failed to act despite intelligence on planned attack. We also have FEC OK's 3.4 billion naira for infrastructure at Lekki Economic Zone. Still above that, we have Kwankwaso emerges NNPC national leader, loyalist dominates NEC. Right, Chidima, what do I have down the front page?
The Daily Trust this morning, foreigners taking over coastal trade in Nigeria. That's coming from bag owners. That's on page 23 on Daily Trust.
Daily Trust.
This morning, yeah. We have how APC will retain power in 2023. That's coming from Senator Adamu. And 8 years after burial, 2 brothers exhumed dad's corpse for ritual in Kwara State. That was on page 29 on Daily Trust this morning. I think that's all we have. Okay, we have 20 villagers fleeing from bandits run in Niger River. That's all we have this morning for
Alright.
them. I will join us at 12 for the full detail of the news update. Yeah, thanks for joining us and have a nice day.
I'm Ijela Mami.
I'm Chima.
Life of people not only in Niger State but also
Still a chance for Ian Robin. It's
Let him shoot, let him shoot. No problem.
Nigeria about to exit second wave of COVID-19. Still on the headline.
Of nursing and midwifery to Edo State College Nursing Sciences as part
with the